Well, 8:30 this morning, Republic Group CEO was arrested without a warrant. The warrant was sent via WhatsApp to his wife after 3 hours. Vikas Kanchandani has now been remanded to police custody till 15th. But Republic will move the High Court and challenge the CMM court order. Joining me on this broadcast is Pinky Anand, senior advocate, the Supreme Court and a former ASG. Thank you very much, madam, for speaking to Republic TV. This is indeed a black day, if I may say so, in our democracy, given the fact that on the eve of his bail plea, anticipatory bail plea hearing, you see the Mumbai police snooped in and they then arrested Vikas Kanchandani, the CEO of Republic TV. What do you have to say on this, ma'am?
I think we are all rather clear that the entire proceedings and the manner in which they have been done as far as this case is concerned, and Arnab's incarceration for about 8 days in the jail, and then of course the transfers and the other issues that came up in such kind of case is something which seems to be a vindictive and malicious action on the part of the authorities. And to this extent, I think the Supreme Court came down very strongly, held in favor of Arnab, released him from this incarceration, held it was unjust, personal liberty had been staked, and the fact that such kind of action didn't even come forward as far as the case was concerned in, of course, another case of abetment to suicide issue. But the point is that if you keep having harassment and arrest of people in two circumstances, one, in such a case where in fact, the disputes seem to be not very evident on the face of it as far as cheating is concerned. Two, you are going to keep arresting employees and senior officials of Republic TV. That itself speaks volumes. Third, when a matter has been put up for anticipatory bail and that is pending hearing and that is being heard, to arrest somebody in the meantime on that ground, I think each of these issues answers itself. And it seems to be a vindictive campaign which is carrying on one after the other.
Ms. Anand, I would also like you to weigh on this matter. The very fact that Vikas Kanchandani is someone who was summoned multiple times by the Mumbai police, and each time he has basically appeared before the Mumbai police. Not just that, 100 hours of questioning has already taken place. So what is the need of custodial interrogation in the first place?
No, you're right. You're right. The very elementary part of law, as far as arrest is concerned, is you will only arrest a person if there is possibility of him absconding. You will only arrest a person if there is some evidence which has to be unearthed and only by custodial interrogation. And in fact, in the other case where Arnab was arrested also, these kind of principles had been laid down. Supreme Court has been very categorical. You cannot arrest somebody simply because a case is pending. If a person is cooperating in investigation, if a person's statements have been taken, as you said, about 100 hours of statements which have been taken by the police, and what is the need to arrest such a person? Arrest is only for purposes of custodial interrogation, which if required only would it justify itself. This doesn't appear to be any such case in which custodial interrogation would serve any purpose. And then, of course, now you have had the remand for Vikas for about 2 days till 15th. Each of these factors, I think, is something which really raises eyebrows as to how this situation could have been warranted by the police authorities, as also how could such action have been taken by the court. But then again, of course, the Bombay High Court, I believe, is going to be moved. So we hope that it will see the end of this injustice.
Ms. Anand, a very important factor here, the very fact that you've had Vikas Kanchandani, who was arrested around 8:30 this morning. It was only around noon that family members were basically handed over the arrest memo. So, in fact, Vikas did not have an idea as to why he was being arrested. No reason whatsoever was cited by the Mumbai police. Don't you think this is yet another example of how due process of law wasn't followed by the Mumbai police?
You're right. The arrest memo has to be given to a person when he's arrested because he must and should know his grounds of detention or arrest, which in this case obviously was not done. You can't send a memo of arrest a few hours after a person has been arrested, because the whole purpose of the exercise is that anybody whose liberty is curtailed in any manner has to know the grounds on which he has been arrested so that he can take appropriate action, if any. There is a due process of law prescribed for each of these processes. Warrants to be issued, memo of grounds as far as arrest is concerned to be indicated. Why should there be arrest? I mean, it is not because there is a case which has been made out. Even assuming for a moment a case is there and it is made out, can you arrest somebody? Each of these issues is something which leaves a lot of questions unanswered. And as I said, due process of law is totally being violated in each of these cases.
Ms. Anand, one final question that I would also like to ask you, because you have been following this case for a very long time. For the last couple of months, you've seen multiple cases that have been registered against Republic Media Network, and all of it now essentially smacks of political witch hunt. Don't you think perhaps it's high time that the court essentially intervenes and some sort of a blanket protection is actually given to media professionals who have been working day and night?
Well, this definitely requires consideration by the courts. I do think such cases require some kind of blanket protection, but you do know that you have moved the court and there have been some orders which have not been very favorable in this respect. But we do hope that if this kind of action goes on, the courts will look at it at the larger perspective rather than a specific case by case of a person concerned. How it would turn out, of course, only time can tell.